When I think of Kunia, I think of several things. I think of a great place to watch fireworks at New Year's. I think of modern homes, kind of like Eva, but not Eva. Kind of two different cultures. I mean, they literally call the upper part of Kunia Royal Kunia. Lower down there, it's called Village Park. It feels like more of an extension of Waipahu, whereas up here, kind of feels like they took elevated Eva and gave it a view. We're gonna explore those things in this video. Leave me a comment. I'm gonna ask this guy, leave me a comment. Where is the zip code that goes off the most for fireworks?
Say Waipahu.
Like Waipahu. You might be asking yourself, you're from the mainland. Fireworks are legal there? No, they're not. But during New Year's time, they come in through containers, through other means. People have them. HPD, I'm sorry, and I have my HPD friends. I know you guys probably aren't mad at this. The house with the cop and the firefighters, those houses are the ones that go off the most. They have the biggest family parties and they're launching. So anyways, this is a great place for that. My wife's mom lived right around this street. My roofer that I'll recommend to you guys. You're like, hey Derek, I bought my house. I love the channel. I watch it all the time. Do you have a roofer recommendation? Do you have a flooring guy? Do you have a carpenter? Hit us up. We'll help you with those things. Another interesting fact, fun fact, Edward Snowden, he lived in this loop over here. When all of that stuff went down with the movie Snowden and he fled to Russia and all that stuff, he was living in a house right over here. You can see the finishes of the houses. It looks just like some of the houses in our Eva Beach videos. Probably looks like a subdivision in Colorado or Vegas or something like that. Kunia is a place where you can really get a bang for your buck. I talk about how Makakilo is a place that I may retire to. Kunia is kind of a hidden version of that. If I'm not focused on getting to the east side, I'm not focused on being in town or in Hawaii Kai, I might retire here to Kunia because I can get views of 25% of the island. I can see the ocean, Diamond Head, the mountains, fireworks at New Year's time. Kind of a quiet, cozy community. Similar to Makakilo, but not so far west. Maybe a little more convenient for certain people. Maybe you want to go to Scholfield all the time, hit the commissary and the exchange if you're a retired veteran. If you're an active duty person living here, you're going to be working at Wheeler or Scholfield. Kunia Road is right there. You shoot up in what, maybe 8 minutes, you're up at Scholfield. Kunia is a really convenient location that people really don't talk about. Another fun fact, we had someone from our YouTube channel call us, fans who watch just like you, and they said, hey, here's our situation. Mom owns the house, but we live here and we want to buy in Ho'opili and we want to shuffle around. And this really complex kind of financial and asset allocation situation. Went there, had a meeting both in our office and at the home, talked about it, and we're going to be selling their home. So if you have any real estate needs, listing side, buying side for our local people or mainland people coming in, make sure to hit us up. And eventually on this channel, you're going to see this Kunia home come up with a full walkthrough tour, drone footage, the whole shebang. So I literally had family live backed up to this main road here. This is Ano Nui. It's the backside of Royal Kunia. So let's get negative for a minute. Couple of things about living, especially if you're going to live with the back of your house to Ano Nui. You might think, oh, well, no neighbors behind me. Good. Well, that's a main walking path for a lot of people. So people might be nosy, trying to look through cracks, what that kind of stuff may happen. My mother-in-law probably complained about it a little more than most people would. That's good. That's valuable for you on this channel, right? You're getting like real first-hand knowledge of things that annoy certain owners here. So it's a really long straightaway and there's not gonna be any cops around usually. So people race here. You hear big, loud exhaust, people racing. Another issue, potentially security if you live backed up to the road because people could steal and then leave. I don't think we experience that or any of the people we know. But another thing is there's sometimes fires in that field. And that field's old sugarcane fields, etc. It's all dry now. There have been times where there are fires come up to the edge. That's obviously a fire and a danger risk, but it's just an inhalation risk too. And then sometimes just sketchy people hanging out around there. No other person's gonna tell you this on YouTube. Agents aren't typically negative, they're always positive. We like to get discerning, negative nuance for you to bring you value on this channel. And the other thing is we know people, right? Like I have family that's lived there. We know people that live there. We know people in all parts of the island and we can kind of get some inside opinions on a lot of these pockets of this island. And this place is no exception. There's houses there and then there's houses there and then there's this stuff in the middle. We just talked about the fire hazard. That stuff looks pretty dry to me. Also, we've heard stories of homeless people sleeping in here and kind of homesteading in here. You know, we don't mean to be non-sympathetic, but people typically don't want that in their nice community with an association. The developer who developed this community is Castle & Cook. Now, I don't know what happened and why they didn't finish. I think my understanding is that this was supposed to be another golf course running through here, and that would be really nice, right? Imagine you live in those homes there, you kind of have the ocean view and the island view, and in between you have the golf course, and you were buying it with the understanding that that's how it was going to be. Well, it didn't end up that way. I don't know how, and I don't know why, and I'm not calling out Castle and Cook. But what I am saying is that if you're looking to purchase for a resale, I talked about the fire hazard coming from across Honolulu, but there's also a fire hazard and just a bit of an eyesore and a liability of sorts in between these two parts of Kunia. Kunia Road goes right up here, and then you hit Scholfield and Wheeler right up there. So I'm just kind of giving you guys an orientation. If you pan over here, you can see probably 80% of the population of the island. You can see a lot of the entire island because there's like town or the city, Honolulu, and then it kind of just sprawls into metro, into suburbia, where we find ourselves here. I would call my friends in Makakilo and say, hey, do you see surf? Like when I moved from Makakilo down to Ewa, I'd be like, hey, do you see surf? Because you could see it from that elevation. It probably have to be a pretty big day. You know, if you see surf from here, the waves are pretty big. Little known fact, Pearl Harbor actually extends all the way to Ewa. So when they had that whole water crisis thing with the military water in the middle of the island, the old military housing called Kapilina, or it used to be called Iroquois Point, they actually had some water issues too, or so I heard, because they shared the military water supply. Pearl Harbor, the whole military thing happens all right there. This illustrates another thing about Kunia. You want to live out this way because you kind of want the square footage and the suburbia and whatnot, and you don't want to live in more like metro Honolulu or outskirts of Honolulu, near Hickam or Pearl Harbor or Triple or Fort Shafter. If you're coming home, commuting from Pearl Harbor, Hickam, you're coming this way, the exit for Ewa and Kunia are the same, except for Kunia, you're home like that. Ewa, you have the last leg of your commute still in front of you. Couple Hawaii things happening right now. Kind of small, raining. If we was barbecuing, drinking, we may or may not pack up the stuff, because in Hawaii, it doesn't always downpour, it just kind of does this. Another thing I want to point out to people, you probably see these cool trees, and to us, it's no big deal, but we've had people come from the mainland and hang out with us, and they're like, there's those like Lion King trees. It's so amazing. Well, those things are called monkey pod trees. These houses behind me, these are like your typical smaller homes in Kunia. You can tell they're not of like the elevation. I mean, literal like topographical, whatever. They're literally not elevated and don't have the exact same views as Royal Kunia, but also they're not of the same build and square footage. Now quality, I don't know. Maybe the quality is just as good, but they're just smaller, more basic homes here. We're obviously not in Royal Kunia. I'm gonna go show you guys Village Park, where it starts to feel more like Waipahu and represents kind of the dichotomy of things in Kunia. It's Village Park, it's Royal Kunia, it's kind of two different things. Let's go check that out. Okay, so now we're in more of the Village Park side of Kunia. This loop is called Kupuna Loop. You go to Walmart on that side, and then Denny's and stuff on this side. You make this big half a circle. Hawaii's a place where we're kind of incorporated in a certain way, and then we're kind of like anti-incorporated in another way. There's like restaurants and stores. It's like Matsunaga store and, you know, Ewa Beach store or whatever. But then also everybody goes to Walmart. It's not like this elevated part of California where Walmart is repulsive. No, you go to Walmart here because you need to get stuff, and it is what it is. And so Kunia was, for a lot of people, known as the place with the Walmart. And that's on the other side of Kupuna Loop. The other thing here is we're on the corner of Kupuna Loop and Palai Street. When I met my wife before I went to the Coast Guard, this is where she lived with her family. Her sister and her husband lived further down on Palai. They since moved to Aiea. I talked about them in the Aiea video. They're from Aiea. We spent a lot of time here. There's a lot of Kunia Village Park things happening right here. And now some of this, my local people follow, comment, let me know if you're picking up what I'm putting down. There's some nuance to this section. Some of the Kunia Village Park things that are happening here. Well, for one amazing thing, look at that view. The view is amazing. There's association here, but houses can be painted a lot of different kind of colors. This is the Waipahu zip code, Waipahu School District, etc. In the evening times here, people drinking, doesn't even have to be Friday, Saturday, any kind of day. The Cowboys might have just scored a touchdown. Fireworks. It's just a thing. A lot of cars parked on this road. This is a road you gotta learn you gotta know how to navigate. Like, oh, you coming? Oh no, he's driving a lifted Tundra. He cannot fit. I'm gonna have to go over here because the lifted Tundra gotta go through. There's a certain vibe to this neighborhood. You could even tell, right, from Royal Kunia down here, it's different. I talked about this in the Kalihi video. There's certain kind of aesthetic that you can tell is inspired from, you know, a different place in the world. And you see this wrought iron fence, all concrete, no grass, but a bunch of plants. Should I look over there? Oh. All right, guys, hit subscribe, comment, like. We love getting your feedback. If you have any real estate needs at all, please reach out to us. Go to coreteamhawaii.com, top right of the corner, click book a call, contact my team and I for anything real estate, anywhere. We want to be the first people that you think of. See you on the next one.